State Capitol on another cold night at Coors Field. The Rockies getting ready to take on the Astros, and the lights are green for Todd Helton to return to the lineup. He'll be in his customary number 3 spot in the batting lineup for the Colorado Rockies. That'll be great to see after missing the last 14 games. Good evening, everybody. Happy as always that you're along. I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies getting ready to take on the Houston Astros, a team that's off to their best mark in franchise history. They're at 19-9. Of course, last year they played in the World Series. It's a very talented team, not only offensively but also on the hill. They have some of the best young pitching in baseball. We'll talk more about that as this series develops. Let me bring in my partner Jeff Houston. I want to talk about the middle of their lineup, Morgan Ensberg and Lance Berkman. These two are two of the better power hitters in the National League. Well,
they are, and the Astros have one of the best middle of the order as far as production. You look at Lance Berkman here. Right now he leads the major leagues with 36 RBIs. He's just phenomenal because he can hit from both sides of the plate. And Morgan Ensberg, the all-star third baseman, is just a prototypical third baseman, can hit for power. Since the beginning of the 2005 season, he leads all National League third basemen with home runs. So we got a couple good third basemen going tonight.
Well, we got a good pitcher on the mound for the Colorado Rockies, at least based on his last performance down in Florida. Byung-Hyun Kim was terrific. Pitched into the 7th inning, and he had a dominant performance, striking out 9.
Well, he did, and I think the Rockies are looking for the same type of performance today. What was impressive about that is he threw over 70 pitches for strikes, and he's looking to continue that dominating performance tonight against an Astros team that's a little bit better offensively than what he faced with the Marlins, but still could be a good matchup.
It's going to be a big test for the Rockies. These 3 against Houston, then it's off to St. Louis, and then they'll see the Astros down at their place. Helton is back. Let's not forget, he's close to 350 on the season. Rockies and Astros come on back to court. Grab life by the horns by Affleck. Ask about it at work. By Southwest Airlines, with more flights to more places than ever before, Southwest is taking low fares farther. And by the Rocky Mountain Refreshing Coors Light. Taste the cold. Well, you got to keep warm somehow. Lance Berkman showing off the Irish in his background, I guess. They're having a lot. You know, when you're 19-9, you have a lot of fun when you come to the ballpark, right?
Skipping rope in there in the dugout. Orlando Palmero told me they had a good time before the game starts. That's for sure.
I guess so. They've been having a good time once the game's over. Also, 19-9 for the Astros. The Rockies tied for first with the Arizona Diamondbacks, who've been coming on strong of late. They're at 16-13. Here we go. Byung-Hyun Kim misses up high to Craig Biggio. Boy, has he been a pain in the neck to the Colorado Rockies through the years. How about this? A 408 lifetime average at Coors Field.
The good leadoff hitters do that, but he's been a pain in the side to a lot of teams during his career.
Well, he's closing in on 2,900 career hits. More than 600 doubles in his great career. And he hits this pretty well to left center field. Holiday should have room. I'll tell you what, there must be some wind up there. This man had to drift hard late towards center field. Biggio's retired. Here's the rest of the Astros lineup for Scrap Iron. Phil Garner. Willie Taveras, good-looking young player, second in the National League Rookie of the Year voting a year ago. Then Lance Berkman, Morgan Ensberg. Jeff told you all about those two. Preston Wilson, the former Rockies, batting in the 5-hole. Jason Lane, 6. Brad Ausmus off to a great start offensively. Adam Everett, and then the pitcher Taylor Buchholz. And the first pitch out of the strike zone to Taveras, the young center fielder, at 296. Phil Garner was bragging on him before the ball game. He said, you know what? This guy, in a couple of years, people around baseball are going to say this is one terrific player.
He can flat out go get it in center field, and he's learning, and he's in a perfect situation to hit second because he's got Biggio in front of him, Berkman behind him, Ensberg. It's a good place to hide a young guy.
The Astros are coming off a nice 4-3 win yesterday over the St. Louis Cardinals. They're beginning a 7-game road trip. It's kind of strange. They're going to play 3 here, 3 in Los Angeles, then run up to San Francisco and play 1. A makeup game for a ball game they missed earlier this year when they had a couple rained out in San Francisco against the Giants. But for Houston, They've played only 10 road games so far. They're 5-5. That's the fewest in the National League. 2-2 to Taveras. Swung on and missed. Foul tip actually held by Danny Ardouin. And BK has the first two in the book. Let's take a look at his numbers, Jeff.
Well, BK, you know, he's done a great job. He's got a fastball into the 90s, that sinker change. But what makes him unique is that sidearm delivery, especially against right-handers. A very, very good athlete on the mound. He can get cover bunts. He just does a great job out there. But I think that sidearm delivery is what makes BK unique in what he does out there.
And now the dangerous Lance Berkman, switch hitter in from the left side. And yesterday he went deep for the 11th time this year. Opposite field shot. And he's got power. I mean, big power to all fields.
He's just unbelievable. You look at some of his numbers, but what makes him so nice is that he's got more power from the left side, but his batting average is higher on the right side. But so which side do you pitch to? I'm not sure. You just hope he hits it at somebody. He's that good of a player.
Yeah, he had a bit of a down year last year, but he battled all kinds of injuries. He had 293, 24 home runs, 82 driven in 132 games. But he's healthy again this year. And Phil Garner was saying earlier, one of the reasons they're better, at least the first 5 weeks of the season offensively, is that this guy's healthy.
Well, this guy carries your team just like, you know, you put him in the third spot like Todd Helton hits third for the Rockies, and he just makes your lineup so much better.
Good spot there.
Yeah,
with
it
that
was
fastball.
good spot by BK. You know, that's what you want to try to do, is paint him away and then come in occasionally when you have to.
That's a good spot also. I mean, if you're going to miss, that's a pretty good location.
You can already see that BK's working down. He's trying to work away here. That ball just runs just off the plate just a little bit, but you're exactly right, Drew. That's the good location right there.
That's a fair ball down the right field line past the diving Todd Helton. And Hobb goes and gets it in the corner. And Berkman will stop at second base. So a 2-out double.
It wasn't a bad pitch. After going away, he comes in on Berkman. It actually sounded like he broke his bat a little bit, but that's how good a hitter he is. He can break his bat and still keep the ball fair past the diving Todd Helton.
Here are the Rockies defensively. It'll be Holiday, Sullivan, and Hopp in the outfield. Atkins, Barmes, Carroll at second base tonight. Helton back at first base, and Ardouin has the gear on once again, catching Byung-Hyun Kim. He caught him in Florida. Plenty of experience catching him last year. Morgan Ensberg steps in and fouls off the first pitch. You know, with Danny behind the plate, you don't want a guy catching Byung-Hyun Kim that hasn't spent some time working with him. It can't be an easy assignment.
No, you're right, because you look at him, he hesitates a little bit, then he'll come and throw, and he's throwing from the three-quarter, almost sidearm delivery. You need an experienced guy, somebody that's handled him before, and that's why Danny's behind the plate tonight.
To Ensberg, that just missed.
You look at Ensberg's open stance. It stands a little bit like Garrett Atkins in that they both start open, but they get closed. And you think, okay, where do I try to pitch this guy? You still want to try to pitch him away, though, because you don't want to work into that power on the inner third of the plate.
Two balls and a strike.
Take a look at the open stance. You see right here where his foot is. He wants to get it back right in this area right here. And you see once the pitch comes, that's where he gets to.
BK's got a lot of life on his fastball. He's been 90-91 with his fastball. And that fastball at 88 right at the knees. Good spot. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Lance Berkman is at second base. Morgan Ensberg at the plate. All-star third baseman a year ago.
This is where BK can come back with that slider that he starts in the same spot. Looks like a fastball to Ensberg and work away with it.
That's where they set up. Boy, that was the pitch that you called for. I mean, and that was perfectly executed.
It was. He hit his spot. It's just Morgan just did a good job of laying off it. This is a tough spot. He started to go and at the last second realized that was a little tight slider that BK wanted to work out away.
And ball 4. So BK walks Ensberg. 2 on now for Preston Wilson. And Wilson is hitting only .224. However, in his career, you know, some guys have other guys' numbers, and Preston has BK's number. You may have watched the pregame show. Keith Blyer mentioned this. Preston in his career is 10 for 14 against Byung-Young Kim.
Preston knows this going into a game. You know when you have success against certain pitchers, other pitchers you don't have any success against. And it's one of those things that you feel confident even when you're going up there. You say, throw whatever you want because I got a chance here.
A little different stance for Preston Wilson. He's mired in a bad slump. And Gary Gaetti, the hitting coach, who's quite a hitter in his own day, worked with him about keeping his head still. It's paid off. He's hit better of late. This is fought off to right, and it's going to drop. He came through again. That'll bring around a run. 11 for 15 for Wilson, and it's 1-0 Houston. Going to third base is Ensberg. Berkman scores.
And you're right, Drew. He just fought this pitch off. It went in on his hands, and he just pulled his hands in a little bit and just drove it to the right side. Not a bad pitch considering the location, and it was 1-0. You would think that he would try to do a little bit more, but Preston stayed on that ball and just hit it, you know, out of the reach of Brad Hopp in right field.
Jason Lane, 208 average. He has 6 home runs. Wilson a threat to steal. He already has 1 game this year where he has 2 stolen bases in a game. Knees are feeling better. Two and up. That's the 24th pitch of this first inning for BK. Got the first 2, Biggio and Tavares. Fly ball and a strikeout. Then Berkman doubled. Ensberg walked, and Preston Wilson hit a fly ball single down the right field line. Went to the slider 2-0. And it's 2-1.
Well, that's a good pitch. Those are the pitches that you need to be able to throw when you're behind in the count. 2-0. A guy sitting on a fastball. And a good hitter like Jason Lane, although he's not hitting that high for an average, you know, major league hitter is going to jump on a 2-0 fastball.
Popped up in the infield. And the catch made by Danny Ardwet. A couple of hits and a run for the Houston Astros. Rockies and Todd Helton getting ready when we come. Astros up a run as the Rockies get ready to go offensively, and here's their lineup. Corey Sullivan will lead it off for Clint Hurdle tonight. He's done a nice job all year long. Then Jamie Carroll in the 2-hole. Todd Helton 3, of course. Garrett Atkins, Matt Holliday, Brad Hopp leading the league in hitting will hit 6 tonight. Clint Barmas out of his customary 2 spot. He hasn't been producing enough for Clint Hurdle, and he slides down to the 7-hole. Danny Ardwin and Byung-Young Kim. And here's a good look at one of the top prospects in the Astros organization, Taylor Buchholz. And what a start to his big league career, Jeff.
He's had a great start. He's got a fastball. He sits around 93 with this fastball, good hard slider. But he's got this curveball, 12-6, a knee buckler. Be interesting to see how it does at this altitude. But he does have outstanding control for such a young guy.
Now, Buchholz, you want to hear numbers that are impressive. This is his 4th big league start. He has 6 appearances. It'll be 5 appearances. This will be his 6th. As a starter, his first 3 starts, the opposition is hitting .101. 7 hits in 21 innings. That's it.
That is it. The interesting thing about that is the number 3 hitter is hitting .364. That's the only guy that's had any success so far against Taylor in the young season.
That's why they hit in the 3-hole, huh?
That's
Boy,
why
that was nasty. We were worried about the slider and seeing if it would break. That thing fell off the table.
It did. I think that might have answered the question early on at least. But look at that thing. That's why we talk about a 12-6, just like on a clock. You look at the clock from 12-6, and that's what that did.
Leaves this up, and it's hit pretty well. Taveras going back. Still going back, and that almost got over his head. Willie had to turn around. So a long drive by Corey Sullivan, 1 out. Here's Houston defensively. They have Wilson in left field, Taveras in center. Jason Lane's good outfielder. He's in right. Ensberg at third. Very good shortstop. Smooth fielder in Adam Everett. Craig Biggio back at second base the last couple of years. Berkman's at first now. And a fine receiver in Brad Ausmus. A couple of Gold Gloves a few years back. Jamie Carroll. And Carroll takes a pitch out of the strike zone. Ball 1. Marty Foster is calling balls and strikes tonight. Fielden Colbreth is at first base. Bill Wilkie at second. And the crew chief Tim McClellan's at third. Chop to third. That's a fair ball over the head of Ensberg. And double territory for Jamie Carroll.
Jamie Carroll just brings a lot to the table. I like what Clint did, sliding him up to the #2 spot. He can handle the bat a little bit. But I tell you what, sets it up right here for Todd Helton.
You bet. So Todd comes back to the plate after missing 14 games. And the thing that pleased him the most, as frustrating as it was for him to watch, is that the club went 8-6, and most of the work by the Rockies during his absence was on the road. So 8-6 without their best player. Pretty good stuff. And Helton hits the first pitch on the ground. And Berkman flips the buckhole. It's 2 outs.
Have all those nerves after sitting. Now, even a veteran guy like Todd Helton's played forever in the big leagues. When you come back after sitting out for 14, 15 days, you still have the nerves as a rookie. I'm sure he gets that first one out of the way. He's happy about that. Now he can move on.
Garrett Atkins at 333 steps in. Done a terrific job with runners in scoring position. 394. Rockies have the equalizer at third.
It's interesting to see with Taylor Buchholz with the runner on third base, even though there's 2 outs, a lot of times you'll see these guys go from the stretch just to make sure they can't get that little extra lead or possibly a balk in this situation. It's just unusual to go out of the windup.
Atkins hits it hard, but right at Biggio. He was positioned perfectly. Rockies got a double from Jamie Carroll. Could not bring him around. We'll go to the second inning. 1-0 Houston. Astros leading 1-0 as we go to the top of the second inning. Clint Barma's back after missing the last couple of days. He had to go to back home. His cousin, 21-year-old, passed away, obviously way before his time. And our condolences to the Barmas family. We're going to focus in tonight on Clint, the position he plays. It's our position spotlight night. We're going to be looking at one of the toughest spots on the diamond, the shortstop position. Here's Brad Ausmus hitting out of the 7-hole. And he checks his swing, but that was in there for a strike.
Brad's off to probably one of his best starts he's had. I mean, he's hitting 347, 4th in the National League. And here's a guy that's typically around the 250-ish mark, very solid behind the plate, but not known as an offensive type of player.
Well, he's a career 255 hitter. He's been around a long time because he's such a good handler of pitchers. And you know what? He's kind of like one of those old school catchers, Jeff. I mean, he hits enough, and he's a tough out in that, you know, he doesn't give away at bats.
No, and hitting in the 7th spot for this team, that's a perfect situation for him. Nice pitch by BK right there. He'd set him up with the pitches in a little bit. Worked him away right there for the strikeout.
Well, he had a chance to catch up with Clint Barmas back at spring training. Here's a little of the conversation.
My greatest game in baseball is by far easily the opening day of last year. Never hit a walk-off in my life, so I mean that was pretty neat, pretty special. To do it off a Hall of Famer was it makes it that much better.
That future Hall of Famer that he was alluding to, Trevor Hoffman, of course. Adam Everett. One of the first things that jumped out at me when we were doing our homework on the Houston Astros, Adam Everett's hitting out of the 8-hole, and he's got 17 RBIs.
Well, for an 8th-hole hitter to have 17 RBIs already tells you what the kind of production that they're getting from throughout their whole lineup. And certain nights the top's not going to hit. You need guys in the bottom to be able to do it.
Not going to drive anybody in with that swing. Great pitch by BK.
That was another great pitch by BK. That slider from the side they were talking about, and it just works it away. And you sit there and you fish at it thinking, oh, I'm gonna finally reach it, and it just keeps going away from you.
Everett tied for first in the National League among shortstops in runs batted in with that man, Clint Barnes. Taylor Buckholtz up there, and he takes strike one. He's looking for his first big league hit. We've had interesting weather the last few days. Each night we've been told before the game, chance that we're going to be in a delay situation, could be a lot of rain tonight. And it rained a little bit 2 nights ago. They played through it last night. It looked ominous all night, never rained. And tonight, the Rockies during batting practice, they got the first group through, and then it started to rain a little bit. They put the tarp on the field. Houston never did get out there. But we haven't, you know, it's never really come down. And right now it looks as good as it has all day. BK strikes out the side. 1-0 Houston, middle of 2.
It's good to see Preston Wilson back at Coors Field, but he is in the wrong uniform, and he's already driven in a run for the Houston Astros. Enjoying the music between innings here. 1-0 Astros as we go to the second inning. Keith Plyer down by the Rockies dugout. Yeah, I guess it's no surprise that Preston Wilson got a hit off BK. I mean, those stats against Byung-Hyun Kim are ridiculous. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that, Drew and Jeff. 11 for 15 now against one specific pitcher, and it's also not a surprise that the Astros scored in the first inning tonight. Houston so far this season, a big reason they're 19-9. Houston has now outscored their opponents in the first innings of games 29-7. Now here's the good news as Matt Holliday steps in against Taylor Buckholtz. The good news is, even though the Astros have that great record, they've actually been outscored from the second inning on in ball games so far this year. Back upstairs.
Well, they're finding ways to win, and that's a pretty impressive stat Keith just gave you. Here's Matt Holliday, and he swings at the first pitch, and he drives it down the left field line. Wilson comes up with it quickly. Holliday's got to dig for second, and he'll arrive with a double. That almost started to slide a little too late. Finished it around the outfield.
You see him smiling there. We'll take a look at this swing right here. Gets out in front on this breaking pitch just a little bit, but keeps his hands back enough. But he knows when he hits it, the thing about this, why he gets a double, is he's digging right out of the box. He knows Preston's running away. It's tough for him to gather himself, plant, make a good strong throw. But we'll see on his slide here. Sometimes those bases get a little bit wet with the dew and the moisture in the air. You slide over the top of them.
Well, we're going to have some fun with Matt because he's had some interesting slides this year. We're going to have to put a little montage together at some point. Breaking pitch in there for a strike. As Brad Hopp takes his turn. Rockies and Reds, 64 doubles leading the National League. This ball pulled foul.
That stat we just showed you, it just, when you're hitting doubles, that means you're hitting the ball properly. You know, it sounds very simplistic like that, but that means you're using the whole field to hit with. If you were just hitting singles or home runs or something, you're probably pulling the ball a lot more. But when you're hitting doubles, that means you're really driving the ball all over the ballpark.
0-2 on Brad Hopp, trying to move Holiday along at the very least. Good eye. There's a difference right now. Talk about comfort level. That's a pitch Brad may have swung at middle of last summer before, you know, right after he came back from the injury.
I saw the comment he made that said last year, you know, I would go up there at times and swing at the pitcher's pitch just to put the ball in play. Now he's saying, hey, I'm seeing pitches. I'm getting my pitch to hit.
And Hopp drives this to center field and deep. Holiday a tag. Taveras comes up with it, and Brad Hopp does his job. Behind in the count, he got a pitch away from him up in the zone, and he lifted it to deep center field. So with one out, another fly ball bring Holiday home with the equalizer. Clint Barmes is coming up. Let's get another player profile on the Rockies shortstop.
Do I have any superstitions? Obviously my socks. I don't know if it's a superstition or if it's just something that feels comfortable. I've always worn my pants up ever since I was in Little League. So I don't know why, I've never changed.
It wouldn't feel right if Barmes came out in the
long pants.
The long pants. No. Clint Barmes at 245, and because he doesn't walk much, that's why he was dropped in the lineup.
It's interesting to see that the Astros already have their infield in the second inning.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that shows me that, hey, Phil Garner thinks it's going to be a close ball game. 1 or 2 runs might decide this thing.
Very unusual early in a ball game, particularly at this ballpark. So we'll see how it plays out. Plenty of holes out there for Barmes. And it's 2-0.
As a hitter, you look at this and you say, wow, okay, I just have to put some wood on it somewhere, and you got the Texas leaguer. It's very unusual because the last thing you want to have is a big inning, and that's what'll happen sometimes when you bring the infield in so early.
2 balls and a strike. Barmes is one of those guys, Jeff, and there are really 2 kinds of players. There's a lot of, you know, psychologically, there's all different makeups, as you know, but there's guys that you got to pat on the back, and there's guys that can kick in the butt a little bit and challenge him, and he's been challenged. Dropped from the 2-hole to the 7-hole, and I bet you he responds.
Knowing the type of player he is, he challenges himself, but sometimes you need somebody else to challenge you to say, okay, I understand what you're saying, and I'm going to prove you wrong, basically. Here he needs to just shorten up his swing with the 2-2. Good chance that curveball is going to be thrown right here.
And he beat him with a fastball. Now they can back the infield up, and Danny Arduin will come up with 2 outs. Let's check in again with Dave Benz. Dave?
Hey, thanks a lot, Drew. The Cardinals and the Marlins from South Florida. Scoreless game, top of the 5th. Albert Pujols, forget about it. 3-run home run, number 16 of the year, part of a 7-run inning for the Cards. They've gone to the bottom of the 5th. It is 7-0. That scoreboard at Coors Field needs to be updated.
They'll get it. They'll get it. Danny Arduin takes high, ball 1. Sometimes in these types of situations, you'd pass on the 8-hole hitter and go right to the pitcher, but Danny's been struggling with the bat, and Buchholz is going to go after him. And a wild pitch, man. Holiday thought about it, but the brick wall now, that was a slingshot right back to Brad Ausmus. He'd have been out by 30 feet.
It was just an unfortunate break for the Rockies. Taylor throws a wild pitch here, just gets by Ausmus, but it comes back so hard, like one of those pitch ball nets you used to have when we were a little kid. You throw it, and can you catch it? Came right back to him.
The pitch back.
Pitch back, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
You knew what I meant, though.
Got one. Pretty good product. Two and 1 on Arduin.
Well, that's a pitch we're talking about right there. 2-0 fastball. Danny's just unfortunate, hasn't been able to come up with that big hit early on in a hitter's type count. You know you're struggling a little bit when you miss those type of pitches.
Shallow center field, and that's not even going to get to center field, just out behind second base. Easy play for Adam Everett. So Holiday left at third base, 1-0. Back upstairs with Jeff Houston. I'm Drew Goodman, and Jeff has reached deep into the closet tonight, dug out all his old gloves from his playing days. And Jeff played everywhere. Played in the middle of the infield, first base, the outfield.
Got a couple different ones here.
What do you got?
This was the baby, the one that didn't show up until the game time. Didn't break it out. I didn't even use it in pregame warm-up. Here's a brand new glove that had to pull out of the wrapper.
There you go. And this one kind of looks like the Walt Weiss old glove. I mean,
yeah,
this has seen some action.
It's just like your baby. You know how somebody goes to work with their tools. This was my tool.
Well, the glove to players,
it's gold.
They know where their gloves are. There's Biggio doing his thing, and Holiday slides. Biggio's going to have himself a double. That was an ugly slide also. A leadoff double for Craig Biggio. For Craig Biggio, he now has 600, I think how many doubles it is, 617 doubles in his career. That is unbelievable, and he's leading the National League in that department. He is 40. The 617 is 10th all time. He's chasing down Henry Aaron, who's at 624, so probably pass him in a couple of weeks. Willie Taveras tried to bunt Biggio over, and he fouls it back. You know, one of the areas of concern right now for the Colorado Rockies, you go back to that last half inning, and it's come up quite a bit over the last week or 10 days. The bottom half of the lineup, not the bottom half, the bottom third of the lineup is not producing much.
Well, it's not, and that's the unfortunate thing, is you got to be able to manufacture some runs when you have to.
High throw, great backup by Jamie Carroll. If Jamie Carroll doesn't get there, Biggio scores.
We talk about it. It seems like every night we talk about Jamie Carroll doing something to help the ball club. And Taveras lays down a beautiful bunt right here down the third base line. Garrett comes in, has to barehand and makes the high throw. But look at where Jamie is right there. Most second basemen would have still been watching the play. What we like to say is buy a ticket, because that's all they were doing, is just watching it like a fan. But not Jamie Carroll. He's into every play and backing up there. And you're right, Drew, that that ball gets by in the corner. Taveras could end up on second, possibly third, and Biggio scores.
Nobody out. Biggio and Taveras have set the table for Berkman. Berkman had a double down the right field line his first time up. Houston leading 1-0.
This is a guy right here. I mean, Berkman's had an RBI in 8 straight ball games and a total of 15 RBIs during that time. So tough man right here at the plate.
And the 36 ribbies leading baseball. Biggio, or excuse me, Berkman has a hit in 12 of his last 13. He's averaged third in the National League. Product of Rice University.
I think what makes him such a great hitter is that he hits from both sides of the plate almost equally as well. He has a little bit more power from the left side, but I mentioned it earlier in the open that from the right side he's a better average hitter.
Good speed at first, and Taveras, he stretches out the lead a little bit. It's a good job by Young Kim.
It is. A lot of times you would think with Taveras at first, you don't want him to go because take away the hole that Berkman can hit through, but he can hit it so many different places in the field. If you have another opportunity to steal a base, to get a guy into scoring position, Be better for the Astros.
2 balls and a strike. Second start for Byung-Hyun Kim. Had the hamstring injury right at the end of spring training. He basically missed the month of April.
And the other thing this does here is with a fast runner, Barmy has to worry about the runner as well as the hitter too.
Swung on and missed, 2-2.
This is a good pitch by BK right here. A little upshoot fastball, got over his hands a little bit. Lance just couldn't catch up with it.
Berkman's not an easy guy to strike out, especially for a guy that hits a lot of home runs. He struck out just a dozen times this year in 109 at-bats.
And the thing about him is you can't play him any certain way. I mean, he hits to left, he hits to center, and probably right field is his worst position as far as hits wise. You know, he uses the whole field that way.
Tavares goes, and it's fouled off. Well, let's take a look at the spray chart on Lance Berkman, and it supports what you were talking about.
You see right here, you know, left field for a hitter, you know, you try to use the middle of the field, and that's exactly what he does. When you start to pull the ball too much, you're giving up the outer part of the plate. But a good contact hitter like Berkman, that's what makes him such a good hitter.
Tavares stays, and the pitch is inside, 3-2. That's a pitch you could tell by the facial reaction of Byung-Hyun Kim that he really wanted. But Marty Foster didn't give it to him.
Well, that's the pitch that he needs. Probably what they're going to do, knowing Garner, having played for him, probably going to start the runner here to open up some more holes and to get some action going. You see Biggio making some hand signs there.
Swung on and missed. Throw goes through. It's in the dirt. No movement from Biggio, so a stolen base for Tavares, his second. And a big out at the plate in Berkman. Well, that would have been something that the Rockies could have got to strike him out, throw him out.
Well, like you said, not very often you're going to get Berkman to kind of chase out of the zone, but Clint did a good job of staying with that ball, keeping it from going to center field. You know, Danny had a little bit of a trouble because Lance was falling over the plate just a little bit. It's a tough spot for the catcher because you also have to worry about the guy at third base. You kind of peek at the corner of your eye to see if he's going.
Ensberg swing and a miss. Ensberg walked his first time up. There's a bunch of Southern Cal alum in this game for the Houston Astros. Ensberg, a big star there. Jason Lane in the lineup. Eric Munson was a tremendous corner player at USC. He comes off their bench, the former Tiger. Swung on and missed again. It's 0-2.
Two identical pitches from Kim in the same spot, almost the same miles per hour. This one was 87. That upshoot fastball that he throws, it's so difficult for a right-handed hitter to pick up that arm motion from BK. Now he can go back up there. He can go the slider away. He's got so many more options right now.
He went right after him. That looked like strike 3. It is. Fielding Colbreth punches him out. 6 strikeouts for Byung-Hyun Kim. Ensberg is gone, though he doesn't want to depart the batter's box.
This is what we were talking about right here. You see his hands. Yeah, he went across there. We talk about the wrist, but it's also the barrel of the bat in relation to the plate.
I'll tell you what, they check. You know, the interesting is Marty Foster, so you can't believe it's strike 3. Marty Foster pointed down to Fielding Colbreth. I thought the pitch was a strike anyhow.
I did too. That was the thing about it, is maybe the umpire maybe Marty got froze a little bit by the check swing.
Well, now BK's got to get Wilson, who's 11 for 15 in his career against him. You know, we were talking about this when he came up, and then Keith had a little bit about how Wilson has owned Byung-Hyun Kim. and I immediately thought of Sean Green and Mike Hampton. That's left on left, and for whatever reason, Sean Green just ate up Mike Hampton. I had Doug Marino look up the numbers. I'll share them with you in a moment. Here's the 0-1, and it's a line drive to right. He's done it again. Hop comes up with a baseball. It'll score 2 runs. You got to be kidding me. I mean, 2 balls really off the end of the bat, and Wilson's driven in all 3 tonight. Now, that's a pretty good pitch.
That was a good pitch. Once again, it hit off the end of the bat, but when you own somebody, it just seems like you get lucky. And this was a good pitch up and away, and he hit it right off the end of the bat, dumped it into right field. And you can see by BK's reaction in a minute, he's just disappointed because he knows that when a guy owns you, you cannot make even a pitch that close to a hitter like that.
Now Jason Lane, 3-0 Houston. Sean Green against Mike Hampton, 18 for 29, a .621 average with 5 home runs.
That's owning somebody. Just,
and that's a lot of at bats. That's not,
lot.
you know,
Yeah,
that's not like I'm 6 for 8 against a guy.
Right.
And Preston's now 12 for 16 against Kim.
And the thing that Kim's kicking himself about, I'm sure, is he had first base open. Not that you would want to, you know, walk him, but hey, I'm not going to give him anything. I'm going to make him get himself out by a strikeout.
Oh, 2 on Lane. And he's gone. Young Kim has struck out the side again. The good news is he struck out 7 in 3 innings. The bad news is the Rockies trail 3-0 because of Wilson. Young Kim will lead off for the Rockies in the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Rockies trail 3-0. They've had opportunities. A runner at 3rd with 1 out in the 1st inning. A runner at 3rd with 1 out in the 2nd inning and could not cash in either one. One ball and 1 strike on Kim. Kim looking for his first hit this year. Rockies are 6-8 at home. 10-5 out on the road. Let's go to the studio again. Dave Benz has another baseball update. Dave?
All right, thanks a lot, Drew. Let's check in on the Phillies, taking on the Giants.
Along with the left.
And forget about this. A home run for Aaron Rowans to make it an 8-3 game. Phillies roll tonight. Final 8-3.
Now the Phillies are now over 500. They're a game over 500, Dave. They have won 6 in a row with that victory tonight. You looked at their lineup. You looked at their pitching staff too. Brett Myers, Corey Lytle, Tom Gordon's been terrific in terms of their closer. And yet they got off to a terrible start, which was somewhat surprising, but they're getting it together right now. This ball pulled. And Berkman does a nice job, 2 outs as Sullivan is retired.
I think the key for that whole staff was John Lieber and the awful start he got off to. I mean, the former 20-game winner with the Cubs, won 17 last year for the Phillies. They started the year 0-4. I think that had partly to do with their awful start.
Yeah, for a while there, other than Brett Myers, the rest of the rotation had an ERA above 7. 2 outs, Jamie Carroll, who bounced a double over the head of Morgan Ensberg. His first time up, steps up, and that pitch is down and away from Taylor Buchholz.
I think until Clint Barmas warms up a little bit, starts hitting a little bit more, I think Jamie Carroll's a perfect guy for this, for the 2nd spot in the lineup.
What's happened for the Rockies is part of the problem we were alluding to at the bottom of their lineup. The lower 3rd is Luis Gonzalez, who you figure is going to be a great 7-hole hitter, 292 in each of his first 2 big league seasons with some pop, and guy that gets doubles. He has not hit yet this year, and he's lost playing time because of it to Jamie Carroll. Ground ball right side on through, base hit. So Jamie's on for the 2nd time, and that'll bring Helton up.
That was just a good swing by Jamie. He just kind of went with the pitch. But you're right. He just adds another dimension hitting in that spot right there. He can pull the ball, and here he goes just with the fastball away and just hits the ball where it's pitched. Hits it in the hole between 1st and 2nd. But you're right. Gonzo was the guy, and he will be again. He'll get his opportunities. He's just refining some stuff with his swing. Has not translated going from batting practice into the game just yet. I think we take it for granted that quickly as Brad Hopp did it, it's not that easy to do what you do in BP and translate it into the game.
Ball 1 on Helton. He looked at 1 pitch his first time up and hit it on the ground at Ensberg. Or excuse me, at Berkman. It up to left field. Preston Wilson makes the catch, and the Rockies are done in their half of the 3rd inning. Houston with a 3-0 advantage. Taylor Buchholz is throwing the ball well. Taco Bell game reset in the 1st inning. Houston would get a double with 2 outs from Ensberg, and then the bloop single to right off the bat of Preston Wilson made it 1-0. Bergman came around, and then with 2 outs, Wilson did it again. He drove in 2 runs. Biggio and Taveras, 3-0 Houston. That's where we stand our Taco Bell game reset. Brad Ausmus will lead it off, then Adam Everett and Taylor Buchholz. They all went down on strikes in the 2nd inning. Young Kim, his last outing, struck out a career-high 9 in 6 2/3 in Miami against the Marlins. He's got 7 already tonight. Ball and 1 strike. One thing about the game of baseball, I think, to people who watch it on television, obviously most of us didn't have the pleasure and privilege of playing at the big league level. It moves down there so much faster than people realize. We're going to discuss that a little bit tonight. You're also going to hear a soundbite from the Rockies manager on that in a few moments, Clint Hurdle. And Jeff, again, people look in, they see guys standing around, but that's not the case at all.
Well, it's not, and it does look easy when you're sitting at home, you know, from whatever angle they're showing from the center field here. It's oh, you get a nice easy pitch. Oh, how did he swing at that sort of thing. And it does look easy, and at times I understand it because I watch other sports and I look at it, but I tell you what, it's not that easy.
And Clint Hurdle was talking about that before the ball game.
On TV, it looks really simplistic. Anybody should be able to do it. The great players have the ability to slow the game down. A fan gets the game slowed down for him, which is a dramatic difference, but it just makes it look way easier than it is to play.
That was a good comment. It does. It looks much easier on TV. Even up here in the booth, sometimes it looks much easier. And I have to remind myself how difficult this game really is to play.
Difficult to hit the ball right now for Houston. They've struck out 8 times against Byung-Hyun Kim. The difference is Preston Wilson, a couple of end of the bat hits to right field with runners on. And look at this. This could be a problem. It will be. Everett off the end of the bat to right field on an 0-2 pitch.
You know, we saw the shot just a little bit ago. We're talking about focusing in on shortstops right now. Some of the things that are going through a shortstop's mind in between pitches, a lot of times we'll come to the ball game and we'll just see him, oh, doesn't look like much is happening in between. They might be kicking some dirt, but there's a lot of things that are going through their minds right now.
Buchholz with a good bunt, one play, that's first. Carroll covers, 2 outs.
You know, a lot of times with you know, whether it's at first base or second base, the shortstop's already looking ahead. He's checked out the manager. Maybe he'll pick something up from them. He'll look at the third base coach. He might have to reposition himself a little bit because a different hitter's up. This guy's a pull hitter. He hits opposite. You know, you check the runner. You're looking at signs. You're doing a lot of different things. You'll check the runner again before the pitcher comes set just to make sure. Oh, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, now you got to worry about the guy hitting the ball. Well, here he's looking at the manager. Maybe he'll pick something up. Look at the third base coach. See if he gives any signs, and he'll check the runner. Hey, how far is he getting off? Now look at the sign from the catcher. Figure out what's going to be coming here.
Good pitch, 1-1.
That's a very good pitch. These are the things that happen in between pitches that I don't think fans, even people in the ballpark tonight, realize what's going on. They think, oh, it's just dead time in between pitches.
No, not the case at all. 1 ball and 1 strike. On the ground, on through. Biggio's done it again. He just drove in the 4th run. It was a ball game 3 nights ago. The Rockies lost 5-4 in Atlanta. All 5 runs relinquished came with 2 outs. All 4 runs so far in this ball game against Byung-Hyun Kim with 2 outs.
Well, you see, he just hit a fastball that's just out of the reach of a diving Barmas, and Clint did a good job there as a shortstop. You realize with 2 outs, you just want to try to knock the ball down. You're not necessarily going to make the play every time, but keep the runner from scoring.
It's been the combination through the years that has hurt Byung-Hyun Kim. Preston Wilson tonight, and Biggio has torn up the Rockies, particularly here at Coors Field. 408 average coming in. He's 2 for 3 tonight. It's a really strange ball game. It's 4-0. Buchholz is pitching very well, and if you've watched, you get the feeling that Kim's pitching pretty well also, and yet he's down 4-0, and you wonder the way Buchholz is pitching if he's going to give up 4.
Well, you wonder. BK's, I mean, with the 8 strikeouts, just a couple pitches that you know, were hit in spots that there wasn't a feel that that's going to happen sometimes, but you're right. You wonder what's going to happen with Taylor and the rookie and how he's going to react. Unfortunately, the Astros are 15-2 when they score 4 or more runs, so the Rockies have their work cut out for them.
Two and 1 on Willie Taveras. Bunt single last time.
You see Barmy's kind of checking everything out. I talked about a little bit earlier. He's looking in at the sign right now, giving the coverage to the second baseman, open mouth. You've got it.
Runner going, it's fouled off. So Biggio will come back.
You know, we talk about it sometimes. You just saw Barmy with the open mouth. Open mouth means you have it. Closed mouth means me. You know, each guy does a little bit different things. The second baseman sometimes will give the sign back. Other times they'll just nod their head or shake. Right there, he's saying you've got coverage again.
Ground ball, BK stabs it. Fires. There was a little anger in that throw to first base. Another run for Houston. 4-0 they lead. Astros leading the Rockies 4-0. Clint Hurdle had a funny line, which is not surprising for him. Also about the speed of the game.
Indy racing doesn't look that difficult to me, but I'll never get in one of those cars and even take a trial lap. Because the reality of it is I'm chicken, I'm scared, and I don't want any part of it. But on TV, it looks like, you know, okay, if you do that, all you got to do is keep veering left. I mean, you never take a right. When you get low on fuel, you pull over, right? You need some new tires. You got everybody taking care of you.
About how easy the game looks on television sometimes. And he's right. Auto racing, they never look like they're going 225 miles an hour, do they?
It doesn't matter. I mean, basketball doesn't look, oh, you know, that's a nice shot. You don't realize how difficult.
Off the plate, 2-1 on Garrett Atkins.
Football is the same way. How you know, how can he miss that pass or whatever it is? It's a lot more difficult. And I like what he said. During his press conference, he said, you know what? Even when I'm in the dugout, it's not quite as fast as it was when I was playing.
Three balls and a strike on Garrett Atkins. Rockies need to get something going. Let's ask our Affleck question.
Affleck!
Look at Phil Garner, who are the only two players to appear in Nolan Ryan's 7th no-hitter and Cal Ripken Jr.'s 2,131st game when he tied Lou Gehrig for the Ironman streak. I have a pretty good idea who one of those guys is.
I know the other one.
Do you?
Yeah.
So between the two of us, we have it right?
We got the right answer, I think.
I'm thinking you should know the answer. I mean, that's your era, right?
That is my era, yes.
Didn't you play for all 30 teams?
29.
29?
Yeah. As long as they were going to keep giving me a uniform, I was going to keep playing.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Holiday double his first time up. Three hits for the Rockies. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rockies lost 7-1 yesterday. Struck out 13 times. Second highest in a game this year for Colorado. Aaron Harang was dominant. 2-1.
He was pretty good last night, Aaron. He had a good fastball, kept the guys off balance a little bit. It was really the first game all year that just didn't feel like towards the end there wasn't much of an opportunity to score.
No, you're right. Ground ball right side on through, base hit. Atkins will stop at second base. And Matt Holliday is 2 for 2. Well, let's give you the answer to our Affleck trivia question. Who played in Cal Ripken's record-tying ball game, and who was also part of Nolan Ryan's 7th no-hitter. One of these guys was also part of the 6th no-hitter with Nolan Ryan as well. Who's the guy who started? I'm trying to remember. Left side of the infield. Who started next to Ripken that day in Baltimore?
That would be me.
That was you.
Yes.
Pretty good stuff.
Yeah, that was fun.
And you were around for Ryan's 2 no-hitters also.
Yes.
You and Palmer.
And his 300th win, but we won't get into that.
How nervous? You told me this story once. I'm asking you to regurgitate this. Brad Hopp's up there, and it's inside ball 1. How nervous were you in the no-hitters late in the ball game?
Oh, very nervous. I had made a play in the 6th no-hitter off of Ricky Henderson to make the 2nd out, and I got the ball, tossed it back to Nolan. He looked at me and said, "Nice play, Huey." And as I was jogging back to shortstop, I was just praying to God they wouldn't hit me another ball.
Those slow rollers that could go either way. Hop pulls one foul. Boy, it'd be nice to see Brad run into one here. Get the Rockies right back in it.
Watch this ball. Brad got out in front of it a little bit. And oh, watch the camera. Good job getting out of the way there. Hope the camera's okay. Oh, little major repair.
Two and one.
The Rockies have the right guy up there, the National League leader in hits, or second in hits, right behind Berkman, is Hop.
Prince Fielder, after a slow start, has really come on. Looking rookie class so far in 2006. Taylor Buchholz is a rookie this year in the breaking pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Atkins at second base, he walked. Matt Holliday, a single to right field. He's at first base. Plenty of room in left center field. Tavares swung over toward right.
Good job by Brad right there, just trying to foul that pitch off till he can get another good pitch to hit. Threw in the breaking pitch right before that, kind of got long with his swing, came back with the fastball thinking they could get him to swing through it, but he got just enough to foul it off. You mentioned Tavares being over in the right center field gap a little bit. They don't understand that Brad's been hitting the ball all over.
Pulled to first. High throw into left field. Atkins will score. Holliday to third. Hop rounds and stops at first. Maybe that'll open up the gates for the Rockies. A double play ball, and Lance Berkman fired it into left field. The shortstop Everett didn't have a chance.
Wasn't even in the vicinity. Lance comes up right here. Nice easy double play ball if there's ever going to be one. Took it out of his glove and just slung it sidearm. Adam Everett didn't have any chance right there. Matt does a good job of going all the way to third base, realizing how far Preston Wilson had to go for that ball.
Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, coming out to the mound. More than anything, this is to make sure his young pitcher doesn't get out of whack here. Hey, listen, you made a good pitch, should have 2 outs. It happens. Nobody feels worse than Lance Berkman. 4-1. And now first and third, still nobody out. This is a big at bat for Clint Barmes. He struck out with a runner in scoring position his first time up. And hitting out of that 7 hole, an opportunity to drive in a run here at the very least. Here's a little bit more tonight on Clint Barmes as we focus in on the Rockies' young shortstop.
My favorite player growing up as a kid was Ozzie Smith. You know, I was a big St. Louis fan. I don't do much of anything like Ozzie does, but I used to try, and I never could do the backflip.
Not many guys could do a backflip like Ozzie.
Well, there's a lot of guys that tried to imitate him, but nobody could duplicate what Ozzie did.
Ball 1 on Barmes. Best defensive shortstop you ever seen, Ozzie Smith?
Yes. He was fun to play against just because he always had a smile on his face. Always enjoyed being at the ballpark and playing.
Line drive up the middle, glove there. There's one on to first, not in time. Barmes got up the line. Holliday scores. It's 4-2. So an RBI for Barmes as he smoked it up the middle, and Everett made a good play to smother it and then flip it to Biggio.
Clint just hit this ball so hard. Adam Everett did a good job at stopping it and just trying to get a double play, but you could see Barmy knows right away that he's got to dig. Once he saw that Adam Everett made that throw to Biggio at second base, that he needed to get there and stay out of the double play. Nice hustle by Clint down the line.
Arduin popped out to short his first time up.
See Danny right there, take a deep breath, try to relax a little bit, loosen the hands up. When we talk about this game being difficult right now, it's a little difficult for Danny at the plate.
There goes Barmes. The throw from Osmus is not in time, and Barmes has a stolen base. He's in scoring position now for Ardouin.
This was a good jump by Clint right here. You see, as soon as Taylor lifts his leg, Clint's gone. And I like this play right here. Get another runner in scoring position. One out. Opens up the field a little bit more. The infielders have to make the long throw if they have to across the diamond.
3 for 3 this year in stolen bases for Barmes. 2-0 pitch. Oh, it's fouled off.
You can see tonight already the Rockies are 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. It'd be a good opportunity for Danny to drive one of these guys in.
Two and two. Ground ball to short. Now bring up Young Kim with 2 gone. Now the Rockies have to try to get, they're trying, but they have to get more production out of that lower third of the lineup. I mean, there's a reason guys are hitting in the 7 and 8 hole. They're not typically 320 hitters. But they have to get more done down there than they have been. It's one of the reasons that Houston is 19 and 9. And talking to Phil Garner, he said, we've been able to ham and egg it. He said, we've had some ball games where we've been handled up top. He said, but the guys in the bottom of the order have taken care of us. Ausmus and Everett have been terrific. And Ausmus, top 4 in the National League in hitting. And he's not going to be there all year, but he's been productive the first 5 weeks. And Everett, though his batting average isn't real stellar, it's .250, he's driven in 17, so he's got timely hits. And that really can pick up a ball club.
It can. When the guys at the bottom of the order can drive in some runs, just seems like it takes the pressure off everybody else, because they realize, hey, if I don't get it done, I got the next guy. And you're not going to have your top of your order be able to do it all the time. That's how successful teams win, when different parts of the whole puzzle work together.
This is in the air, and it's an easy play for the first baseman, Berkman. In the inning, the Rockies come up with a couple of runs, aided by an error on Berkman. 4-2 is the score.
The Rockies get 2 runs back in the 4th inning. We're at Coors Field on a chilly Friday night. Keith Blyer in the stands behind the Astros dugout. And despite the chilly weather, it is, I have to stand up. Now, can you see me? All right. Hi, how you doing? Astros fan in front of me. I didn't want to be rude. Didn't want to be rude. This is the most wonderful time of the year, despite the chill in the air, because, thank you very much. I dropped my scorecard. All-Star ballots, baby. For the first weekend of the season, the All-Star ballots are here at Coors Field as Byung Kim faces Berkman and gets him to swing and miss at the first pitch. So I've done my my homework, and I have my National League picks. This is performance oriented. This is not by popularity. Got to go with Pujols at first base, Drew and Jeff. Not Todd, not yet. Hot shot by Berkman, but that's the first out of the inning. Pujols hit his 16th homer, by the way, tonight. Biggio, look at 4 of my 9 selections are in this ball game, by the way. Biggio's been a favorite of mine for years, but is having a great season, hitting over 300. Garrett Atkins, even though he's been dropping off a little bit, still deserves an all-star nod at third base. Omar Vizquel, probably not the most popular choice if I ask Jose Mesa, but he's been very good for the Giants. You talked about Ausmus hitting nearly 350. Not sure if that average is going to drop. If he keeps it up, he's certainly on my team. Brad Hawpe leading all hitters in the National League at 373 heading into this game. Why does he only have 19 RBIs? Because all of his home runs have been solo shots. Andrew Jones is the best outfielder in baseball when you consider what he can do in the field and at the plate, my opinion. and Moises Alou would round out my All-Stars. So guys, it's up for debate. The good thing is I can change my mind 25 times because I get to vote 25 times on the internet at MLB.com.
All right, Keith, I'm glad you've got it figured out already. But you know what? That's a pretty good lineup he put together.
Well, it is, and that's the fun thing about voting for the All-Star team. You can vote for, obviously whoever you want, but we can debate till the cows come home who's better at one position or the other.
BK overthrew that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Morgan Ensberg. A lot of guys off to surprising starts. I mean, Biggio and that 40-plus crowd has had a terrific start. He had a career-high 26 home runs last year. Think about that. His 39th year on the planet. Swung on and missed. That is the 9th strikeout of the ball game for Byung-Hyun Kim, which matches his career high set in his last start down in Florida. Let's go to the studio again. Here's Dave Benz.
Hey, thanks a lot, Drew. The Nationals and the Pirates. Nick Johnson, this is the first of 2 home runs for him on the day. Oh, speaking of day, Zach Day, 7 scoreless innings as the Nationals win 6-0.
Well, congrats to Zach Day. That was sure a welcome sight for Frank Robinson. He struggled in his first outing with the Washington Nationals. So Zach picks off his first win there back in Washington, where he started last year. Wilson has driven in 3 of the 4 runs tonight. And this is a slow roller at Barmes. Good inning for Byung-Hyun Kim. 1-2-3 in the 5th. And the Rockies head to the dugout down 2 runs. They'll have the top of the order when we return.
Hey, welcome back. The Astros are on top of the Rockies 4-2 in the bottom of the 5th inning. And we're going to break down a shortstop play right here with Clint Barmes in the last half of that inning. You see he circles the ball here. Slow roller, looks it all the way into the glove. But watch the transfer right there. Gets himself in a good throwing position right away. That's what the good shortstops do. They can make that quick transfer.
Buchholz to Sullivan. And it is called a strike.
And we were talking about the transfer. What you do is as you bring it up to your glove, you're reaching in with it, and that's where he made the good transfer right there. You stick your whole hand in there so you don't just grab it with the 2 fingers. You go in with your whole hand, and then as you make that transfer, that's when you get the good grip on the ball.
Trying to get that 4-seam grip.
Yeah, that's what you try for. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but this is typically what you want to try to do. We'll take a look at Clint here. He circles the ball to get himself in a better throwing position. Look at where his head is. Now he looks up because he already knows where the glove's going to be. He looks up and already picks up his target at first. As soon as you let go of that throw, you made a good throw. You know it. You just go into the dugout, into the inning.
This ball lined to left, right at Wilson. And that may have gotten up in the lights. Preston with a big smile on his face, putting his hand to his chest and whoa.
Well, it's a good swing by Corey. He hit the ball good to left field. Just hit the ball where it's pitched. You see Preston coming in. Now he's fighting the lights. There's a bank of lights. It's not too, I mean, it's high, but when that ball is not above it, it'll go right in there. It blinds you just for a second. We saw it earlier this year with Barry Bonds. The same thing happened. A line drive to left field. Same result. It was caught, but very difficult catch.
0-1 on Jamie Carroll. Jamie's 2 for 2 in the game. Bounced a double over the head of Morgan Ensberg and then a single through the right side of the infield. 4-2, Houston leading, bottom of the 5th.
Here's the bank of lights I was talking about. It's right into the left fielder's eyes. You can see some of the glare, and what happens is if it's below, oh, sorry about that. If it's below those lights, then it's tough to see. You can pick it up. I'll show you here in a second. The bank of lights, if it gets up here, you're okay, or here, you're okay. You don't want to be in this area, though. That's the bad area, the danger zone.
That's pretty scary. All of a sudden, you can't see the baseball.
You can't.
Slider missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 1 out. Hilton on deck. Rockies scored 2 runs with only 1 hit last inning. Only 1 of the runs was earned. Buchholz has been as good as advertised. Easy play for Biggio. 2 outs. Let's take a look at what's on tap, brought to you by Coors Light. Our television schedule mirrors the Rockies schedule. Tomorrow we're on the air with the pregame show at 5:30 right here on FSN Rocky Mountain. Sunday is getaway day for both clubs. We'll be on UPN 20 at 1 p.m. The Rockies Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from St. Louis. And the ball games on FSN Rocky Mountain. Pregame shows 5:30 Monday and Tuesday night. And then the Rockies over the weekend, we'll see the Astros again down in Texas. Strike 1 on Helton if you're just jumping on board tonight. Todd in his first game back after missing 14 ball games. The team went 8-6. Todd's 0 for 2 tonight. Sharp ground ball to first and a pop fly to left. Only the second time in his career that Helton's been on the disabled list. The first time last year he had a calf injury and he came back from missing a couple of weeks and was on fire upon his return. You think, well, maybe be a little bit of a slow start, get back in the groove. No, he came out, hit everything in sight. Not a good at bat there. Helton goes down swinging at a pitch over his head. 1-2-3 inning for Buchholz. 5 are complete. 4-2 Houston. Is brought to you by Mako, America's Body Shop, by your Front Range Jeep dealer, and by Rico. Move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. Young Kim will have Jason Lane, Brad Ausmus, and the first pitch is a slow ground ball. Jimmy Carroll picks up and throws out Lane, and after Ausmus will come Adam Everett. Young Kim has pitched a good ball game. He trails 4-2.
Well, he has. He's just had a couple unfortunate pitches to Preston Wilson, but he has actually pitched outstanding, I think. Just a couple, I hate to say mistakes because it's easy to say they were mistake pitches. He just hit them where they weren't.
He hit 2 fly balls that dropped into right field with runners on base. I mean, there have not really been maybe 1 or 2 balls hit hard. Biggio's double was hit hard. This is chopped up the middle. Carroll got a good break on the ball. Strong throw, 2 outs. Ausmus is retired. He has struck out 9 in the ball game. At times he's been dominant. But he's on the short end right now, 4-2. You know what the Rockies need more than anything, and this has not really occurred yet this year. They have not put together, forget 1 game, they haven't put together 2 or 3 games in a row where they put up an 8 spot, a 10 spot, a 9 spot. I mean, they've had series before, as everybody knows, at Coors Field. Even the last few years when they have not won a ton of baseball games, but they've had series, you know, where they score 28 runs.
And you're right that it's surprising it has not happened yet this year. It will eventually, and those things come in waves. You'll get 1 game where you score 5, 6, 7, something like that, but they're due for one of those type innings.
Well, they're due to put together, you know, 3 or 4 nights like that. It just has not occurred as of yet. I mean, because it's a good offensive team. The thing that really is perplexing is they're going out on the road and they're averaging almost 7 runs a game on the road through 15 road ball games. And here at Coors Field, they've averaged 3 runs a game less than what they're doing on the road.
People always ask, why is that happening? I know that's the question that I get. Hey, but why do they play so much better on the road? Why, you know, what's wrong at home? It's one of those things about baseball that make it unique and make it great. Sometimes you don't have an answer for those type of things.
Tough to figure. Adam Everett doesn't chase the slider. It's 3-2. Everett struck out in the second and hit a bloop single to right in the 4th inning. And this is a pop fly to Brad Hawk. 1-2-3 inning from Young Kim. 8 pitches. So BK doing his part. Rockies look to get it going offensively in the bottom of the 6th. 4-2, Houston has led throughout the ballgame. Hey, for an insider's look at what's going on with the Rockies and also around the league, don't forget to read Tracy Ringolsby's column tomorrow in the sports pages of the Rocky Mountain News. He had good stuff in today's Rocky Mountain News. Here's a Cowboy. Just a thumbs up. He's playing it cool today.
He didn't take his hat off and tip it to us. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, we'll have to have a chat with him. Garrett Atkins will lead things off for the Rockies. Garrett 0 for 1 and a walk, scored a run in the 4th inning.
Fans, don't forget this Sunday is Player Autograph Sunday. Every Sunday home game. 105 start against the Houston Astros. Come to the ballpark by 11:40. Call 303 Rockies for more information this Sunday. Player Autograph Sunday.
You know, a couple of days ago, the papers locally in Houston and across the country awash with the courtship again of the Astros, and I'm sure others. This is a base hit, left side of the infield, of Roger Clemens. Clemens has to be looking in at his hometown team, the team he played for last year and went to the World Series with, to say, you know what, they're scoring a lot more runs this year.
They are. We'll take a look at the replay here by Garrett. This ball just comes back into his zone right there, drives it in the hole between short and third. But you're right, you know, it's got to drive some of the players. Yeah, they would love to have him back, but I think the constant distraction, hey, is he coming back? Is he not coming back? Is he coming back? After a while, that starts to wear on you, especially with the team that's playing well. Yes, he is Roger Clemens, and I think everybody would welcome him back with open arms.
Big swing from Holiday. It's 0-1.
But even if he's ready to go, it's still probably a month away unless he's been throwing in the backyard.
Yeah, I don't pretend to have any idea as to what Roger Clemens would do. The easiest thing, though, for him to do would be to play for the Astros. I mean, he lives in Houston. They've afforded him the opportunity the last couple of years to really be a part-timer. I mean, he's earned that right. He's got 340 wins plus, and he's one of the greatest pitchers of all time. So, I mean, he would fly in the day before he pitched. He would be able to go to his kids' games. He
had a good setup
he
there.
Had an
You're right, though.
setup.
He deserves it. Nolan Ryan had the same thing when I played with him with the Rangers, and those guys deserve those special treatments.
No swing, 2-1.
But the difference is, you know, in between starts, they're doing their work. They're going to be prepared when they come back to pitch.
Oh, obviously. But the thing is, you know, if he's going to come back and pitch, and you can make an argument, he didn't have the run support. You can make an argument he had the best season of his career last year. He's had some great ones. I mean, he was that dominant, lowest ERA in the National League. But he would be coming to a team that has another chance at winning a world championship. That's fouled off, 2-2.
And I think that's the thing that draws any athlete is the opportunity to win. You know, he has all the money that he needs. Where am I going to have the best opportunity to win a World Series ring?
Ramon Ramirez getting loose. Astros, like everybody else, no match in the postseason for the Chicago White Sox last year. Holiday to be followed by Brad Hopp.
We saw Ramon Ramirez warming up there. The pitcher spot's coming up in four spots from now, so Clint's already thinking ahead. Who can he possibly pinch hit? You know, if it gets to that situation.
Holiday a double to left and a single to right. bottom of the 6th inning. Game time temperature at 7:05 when we got underway tonight was 43 degrees.
Good thing is there's no wind tonight, so that helps a little bit. We talked about the temperature and 43 degrees, and you know, as a player, what do you do to stay warm? You see right here, Morgan Ensberg's got his hand in his back pocket. A lot of times the guys will put the things that you use in your ski gloves or your boots, those hand warmers, you'll put them back there because you need to be able to feel the ball, grip it when you catch the ball to make a good throw. If your hand's cold, it feels like you're throwing a grape basically out there.
That is a foul ball. I haven't thrown a grape since I was a kid. Those are hard to throw, though.
They're very difficult. They slip out of your hand. They don't feel right.
No. I'm trying to remember back.
You don't need to think that far back, but okay, an orange or something like that, just something that's slippery.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Holiday as he has fouled off a slew of pitches. Atkins at first, nobody out. 4-2 Houston. Ausmus set up inside, which would indicate, in all likelihood, fastball.
a fastball, or sometimes catchers will do that. They'll set up inside when they're throwing across. They like to play games with the guys out there. See, it's going to be a breaking pitch down. He wants it down in the dirt area.
Shallow center field, going out, making the play is Everett, 1 out. Buchholz wins that battle with Matt Holliday. And here comes Brad Hopp.
Brad's had some good swings against Taylor tonight, and this is one of those opportunities where Brad can hit a home run at home with the runner and score, or runner on base. He's due for one of these. We talk about it all the time. Who has the advantage when you haven't faced the guy before is typically the pitcher. But before the game, Mike Hamilton and the video staff, those guys were running tape of Taylor from a game earlier against the Giants. And that's how you kind of get a feel for what a guy might have going into a ball game when you haven't seen him before.
That missed 1-1. I asked Brad before the ball game, I said, is mom cut out the National League batting leaders yet? Put it up on the refrigerator or saved it? And he said, I'm not sure, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, knowing my mom and the way she was, yeah, I know she's cut it out. And rightfully so. They put a lot of time and effort driving the kids to all their games when they were little and hauling them around. This is some of the fruits of the labor, so to speak.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Brad Hopp. And Hopp pulls it foul. Rockies trying to rally against Buchholz, the 24-year-old rookie originally drafted by his hometown Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, came over from the Phillies in the Billy Wagner deal. He said he grew up as a Phillies fan. He was disappointed when he got traded, just from the standpoint of when you grow up idolizing a team and then you get drafted by him, you think you're going to be with them forever. He's come over to a good situation with the Astros.
And this is pulled to first. Berkman knocks it down, and he will get to the bag to get an out. He has had his problems tonight defensively. He had the throwing error, which led to a couple of runs for the Rockies, and he had another double play ground ball there, and he gets just one at the bag. So Garrett Atkins to second base.
Well, Brad hit this ball pretty good, but right now Lance was thinking about the throw he made earlier in the ball game. Before he even caught that ball, he was like, oh no, I've got to make a throw here. And sometimes that happens as a fielder. You start to think ahead before you do one thing, and the most important thing, and that is catching the baseball first.
Now Clint Barmas coming up, and we've been focusing in on him and his position all night long. Here's some more with Clint.
With Clint Hurdle, you know, he's been great for what we need. You guys talked about how he's kind of new to the whole coaching thing, and now he's going on his third or fourth year. He's not new anymore, and you know, we're ready to win. I think he's going to be a big part of why, you know, of our path.
Barmas doesn't get the fastball there. It's 0-1. Clint has an RBI ground out in the ball game, that in the fourth inning. He's officially 0 for 2. Rockies scored just once last night. They won 3-0 against Cincinnati on Wednesday. So just 6 runs in 23+ innings now since returning from the road. It up behind second base. Everett once again will have it, and the Rockies got a leadoff base hit from Atkins. Nothing more. 4-2 Houston as we go to the 7th. Let's take a look at our Quest Spirit of Service game reset in the first inning. It's Byung-Hyun Kim with 2 outs. Preston Wilson, who's 12 for 17 in his career against BK, had a fly ball single. 2 more runs came around in the 3rd inning for Houston. Wilson, the catalyst once again. 3 RBIs tonight. The Rockies would get on the board, took advantage of an error on Lance Berkman, and an RBI ground out by Clint Barmas. Got another run home. 4-2 is our score. We've been locked in there since the 4th inning. Top of inning number 7. Kim remains in the ball game. And this should be a relatively easy play and foul ground for Todd Helton. 1 out. Let's go to the studio again and check in with Dave Benz. Another baseball update. Dave?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Drew. The Mets and the Braves, and Shea and Wilson Betterman. Top of the 11th, leads it off for the Braves with a solo home run. It's 7-6. The Braves are still batting in the 11th, and we'll keep you updated on that one.
Well, it was 6-2 Braves in that one. The Mets came back and tied it up. Those 2 teams look like they'll battle all season long, and don't count out the Phillies. Top of the order, Craig Biggio is 2 for 3, and he takes strike 1. Biggio's .408 career average at Coors Field, moving up a little bit, huh, Jeff?
Yeah, it is. It's hard to believe he's 40. I mean, he's been a catcher, he's a second baseman, a center fielder, back to second base now. It just doesn't seem like this guy has aged at all.
In the air, right field, Brad Hopp. Well, he's playing the last couple of years without his buddy Jeff Bagwell. But for years, you talked about Houston, you talked about Craig Biggio, you talked about Jeff Bagwell.
Killer bees.
And I'll tell you what, not only great players, but they played the game the right way, and 2 of the classiest guys in the big leagues over the last 2 decades.
And they were fun to play against for that reason right there. They were classy, but they played the game hard. They played the game the right way. Tell you what, this is an important out right here in the ball game to get Tavares before Berkman comes up, still down just 2 runs going into the bottom of the 7th inning. You get Tavares out here. Kim's coming up second next inning. Clint will be looking for a pinch hitter for that role, but still a close ball game right now.
Two balls and a strike on Tavares. Young Kim has retired 10 in a row. Last to reach Biggio in the 4th inning with that RBI single, 2-2. By the way, there are 5 National Leaguers, Jeff, with the same team since opening day 1995. Biggio, Bagwell, Trevor Hoffman, John Smoltz, and Barry Bonds.
Some select company right there. But it just goes to show you what the heart and soul of the Astros, those 2 guys. There's another heart and soul guy right there for the Rockies.
And if you're trying to think back, when did Helton come up? Layton came up in 97. Boy, that just missed. 3-2.
BK wanted that pitch right there. You can see him kind of take a couple steps. He thought he had the outside corner right there. Hit the glove right where he wanted. Might have been off just a little bit, but he's been around the plate so much tonight that typically the umpires will give him that pitch.
Marty Foster has not had a particularly wide strike zone tonight. It's been a fair strike zone,
well,
but
it
has not been particularly wide.
No, he's going the width of the plate, which is okay as long as you stick with that, and that's what he's done tonight. You know, talking about looking into the bottom of the 7th, there's a possibility that they might hit for Danny.
Ground ball right side, sliding over Jamie Carroll. Well done by Carroll, and another 1-2-3 inning for Young Kim. 4-2 stretch time at Coors Field.
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball. We're doing our 7th inning stretching here at Coors Field. Jason Smith will be the pinch hitter for the Rockies as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Colorado trailing Houston 4-2. Keith Blyer up in the triple deck, the 3rd deck with my people. You know, earlier I shared with you my early votes for the National League All-Stars. It's time now to do it for the American League, and I suppose now we can all sit down up here. As Smith steps in, and Taylor Buchholz continues for the Astros. First pitch swung on and missed. All right, my American League All-Star votes. This is not a popularity contest. This is performance-oriented. Ben Broussard, the first baseman for Cleveland. If you don't know who he is, look up his stats. Very impressive. Smith falls behind 0-2. Robbie Cano, a dynamic young second baseman for the Yankees. Mike Lowell, the 3rd baseman from the Red Sox. Miguel Tejada, all he's doing is leading all of Major League Baseball in hitting. Smith reaches out and grounds one to Berkman at first base for the 1st out. Victor Martinez, a hitting machine at catcher for Cleveland. Nick Swisher in the outfield with Vlad Guerrero, and then my guy Kevin Mench. Drew and Jeff, any guy who realizes about 10 games into the season that the shoes he's wearing are too small, and once he makes the proper adjustment, hits a home run practically every night, is my kind of all-star. Now, regarding the AL teams and the players we're talking about, the Oakland A's and the Rangers will be coming to Coors Field later this year, so you can see Swisher and Guerrero. All right, way downstairs, back to the broadcast booth as Ojeda takes a chance against Buchholz now, boys.
All right, Keith, thanks very much. So Smith grounds out. Miguel Ojeda, the 2nd pinch hitter. Rockies have been held to just 5 hits tonight by Taylor Buchholz. He came in allowing the opposition in his 3 starts to hit 101 against him. And the Rockies haven't exactly torn the cover off the baseball. And Ojeda's retired. I mean, he got eaten up by that fastball in the inner half.
Well, you can see why he's had the kind of numbers that he's had He's able to spot his fastball, run it up there 90 to 93. That one was 90. He's got the good curveball that really hasn't been affected tonight by the altitude or anything like that. He's very poised out on the mound for making as few starts as he has in the big leagues.
This is just his second road start. Corey Sullivan's 0 for 3, though he's hit the ball hard a couple times tonight. And he tried to drag a bunt. Was he in the box? He was, according to Marty Foster, because the ball hit him. And of course, if you get hit by the ball, once you've departed the box, you're out.
Well, the Astros were begging a little bit there. That ball ended up far away from him because it went off him while he was still in the box. But they were trying to steal an out if they could.
This is game 15 of a 20-game stretch for the Rockies without an off day. They will get an off day on the road trip coming up Thursday. They'll have an off day actually in Houston. They'll leave St. Louis Wednesday after the ball game, and Thursday catch up on some rest. Bit tough on the body, Jeff, I imagine.
It is, and you play 20 straight days. You want the day off. Unfortunately, it comes on the road. That happens sometimes, but you would like to have your off day at home, spend it with the family, but unfortunately, it's on the road. But you'll take it whenever you can get it.
And a ground ball at Everett. Buchholz has been marvelous. We'll go to the 8th inning, 4-2. Batman and Robin in the house, but the Riddler's winning. New catcher Miguel Ojeda. He replaces Danny Arduin. Jason Smith pinch hit for him. And the new pitcher is Ramon Ramirez. And if you followed the Rockies the last couple of weeks, you know the story of number 61. He came over in the Sean Chacon deal, and he has had a fabulous start to his big league career. He has pitched 10 innings without allowing a run. Most innings pitched this year without allowing a run, 19 for Duaner Sanchez for the New York Mets. B.J. Ryan has got 13 1/3, the former Oriole. Paid a lot of money now to close games for the Toronto Blue Jays. Fernando Rodney has got 12 innings. He's a Tiger, isn't he, Fernando Rodney? And then Ramon Ramirez on that list. Longest stretch without giving up a run out of the bullpen this year.
That's impressive. He's got Lance Berkman to start off here. That's at the top of the 8th inning, though. I tell you what I like about Ramon, though, is he's aggressive in the strike zone. He goes right after you. He's not afraid of anybody. He gives you that bulldog approach, the guy that you want on the mound. I know Clint's very, very pleased with the effort that he's getting out of him. You know, guy comes in, not quite sure what you have. But I tell you what, he's really stepped it up once he got to the big leagues.
Berkman's 1 for 3. A double in the first inning down the right field line on a pretty good pitch. It was a broken bat double against Byung-Hyun Kim, one of 2 doubles tonight for Houston. The other one was really the best ball hit against Kim, and that was Biggio's double in the 3rd inning. Kim, very misleading line. Gave up 4 runs in 7 innings on 7 hits, walked 1, struck out 9. If Byung-Hyun Kim is going to pitch like he did tonight, and certainly like he did in Florida, he is going to win far more than he loses.
Oh, he will. Tonight was impressive. Like you said, there was only 1 or 2 balls that were hit hard. A couple that were hit out of the reach of guys, but he really backed up his performance, what he did in Florida, with another fine performance tonight. And you talk about it, well, the 4 and the 5 hole pitchers. But I tell you what, BK solidified to me that 5th spot.
Yeah, there's no question. Byung-Hyun Kim, back-to-back outstanding starts. And where's that pitch? Just missed on the inside corner. What I like about Ramirez, he changes speeds with his fastball. And some people say, well, doesn't everybody do that? Not everybody does that.
Well, not everybody can control once they do that. That's the key to the whole thing. He's able to add a little bit, take a little bit off.
On the inside corner, strike 3.
That froze me for a second because I wasn't sure what Marty Foster was going to do. That was a great pitch by Ramon, and he just kind of stood there for a second like, okay, I'm going to call him out because it's such a good pitch.
Can I tell you what I think this was? I think this was a make good, because I don't think this pitch was as good as the last one. I think he missed the last one.
I would agree with you there. The last pitch did look a little bit better, and that's what Lance is arguing right there. You didn't call the one before it. How are you going to call that one?
Morgan Ensberg swings through it. Ensberg a walk and 2 strikeouts in the ball game. The other thing that's really impressive, Jeff, about BK's outing, Florida has a very young lineup. I mean, let's be honest about it. This is not a good team. They're in transition. The lineup he faced tonight at Coors Field, the Hitters Park, is among the better lineups in the National League. I mean, you have Berkman in the middle leading baseball with 36 RBIs, 11 home runs. You have Biggio up top above 300. You have Taveras right around 300. Ensberg 309, 9 home runs coming in. Wilson, Jason Lane, who doesn't have much of an average but has a lot of power in the 6 hole. Brad Ausmus hitting 347 in the 7 hole. Very formidable lineup.
Well, it is, and that's why they're 19-9. But you're right, the lineup that he faced in Florida the other day, out of, you take away the third baseman Cabrera, there's not a whole lot of thump in that lineup, and you feel like, hey, I can get away with some pitches. Tonight you had to be on top of your game facing this Astro team.
Ramirez on top of his game again tonight. He just blew away Morgan Ensberg. Back-to-back strikeouts in the 8th.
When we talk about his fastball and being able to add some, take some off, there he just added some and elevated a little bit and just blew it right by Morgan.
Now he'll face Preston Wilson. Wilson 2 for 3 and 3 RBIs tonight. He came into the ball game 2 for 27 with runners in scoring position, and wouldn't you know it, first 2 times up, runners in scoring position, he came through. 2 balls basically off the end of the bat.
You know, and that's why you play the game, because you statistically you're saying no, there's no way he should do anything. He should. I mean, he hits PK well, okay, but then he drops a couple RBIs out there.
Well, the thing about Preston, and folks remember this from 2003, he had a great year with the Colorado Rockies that season. I mean, Wilson, 282 average, 36 home runs, drove in a National League best 141 runs. Preston will look bad and he'll strike out more than most people, but you know what? He'll also hit the ball 440 a few times.
He will, and the thing about him too is you just never know when that opportunity might come for him. You just, take a look at Ramirez's number. He still has an ERA in a 10 2/3 of an inning so far. He's got 15 strikeouts, with 13, but he had the 2 that he just had already. He's just been impressive.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Wilson. See you later. Ramirez comes out of the pen and strikes out the side. The 3, 4, and 5 hitters in the Astro lineup: Berkman, Ensberg, Wilson. See ya. Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. With more flights to more places than ever before, Southwest is taking low fares farther. By your Front Range Chrysler dealer. And by the Taco Bell Chicken Caesar Grilled Stuffed Burrito, the burrito for Chicken Caesar salad lovers. Crowd of 21,694 tonight. I'm sure the weather kept some folks away. Jamie Carroll leading off in the 8th, a 2-run ball game. Rockies have retired 13 straight Astros. They just have not been able to muster much at all against Taylor Buchholz. They have single hits in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 6th. Carroll has 2 hits tonight.
Well, this is Taylor. That was Taylor's 101st pitch. I got to imagine that Phil Garner's looking ahead and saying, okay, you see it right here. Warman Mike Gay, can't even pronounce his name. Gallo, sorry.
Toward the hole, on through, base hit. 3-hit night for Jamie Carroll. And the all-important leadoff man aboard.
Well, this is
time to refresh your inner fan with Coors Light.
Who would you say is your favorite Rockies player? I got to go with Brad Hopp. Right fielder. He's a pretty solid player. I like him for sure.
Well, we've got ourselves a pitching change. Buchholz, the shirt tail coming out. He looks like a 24-year-old. He pitched very well. But now Phil Garner will go to his bullpen with Helton coming up. Well, Mike Gallo came in. He warmed up very quickly. His first pitch to Todd Helton. Helton hit a Baltimore chop over the head of Lance Berkman. It's first and third, nobody out for the Rockies. Here's the swing by Helton.
Well, as he gets a fastball in, just enough that he got it over the top of Berkman's head. Gallo takes a look at it, realizes it's getting by. Welcome back, Todd. Very nice.
And Garner obviously will take Gallo out with Atkins and Holiday coming up. That's the only left-hander he has in the bullpen. Back in a moment. 4-2 Houston, but the Rockies threatening. Nobody out. At third base with a 3-hit night is Jamie Carroll, and Todd Helton with his first hit since his return is at first base. And Houston has turned to one of their setup men, Chad Qualls, making his 16th appearance.
Well, he's one of the dependable setup men for Phil Garner. Don't be deceived by his ERA. Yeah, it's a little high, but I tell you what, this guy has the stuff to close. He's got a fastball 89 to 94, some sinking action, good hard slider around 86 to 89. I tell you what, this guy comes in and typically what he'll do, Phil will use him to set up to get to Brad Lidge.
The hometown kid, Brad Lidge. But first things first, the Rockies have a great opportunity here. Garrett Atkins, a single his last time up. This is only the second time in the ball game the Rockies have had two men on. And they have the right part of the lineup up. Holiday to follow Atkins.
You're right, Drew. This is the good part of the lineup. You got Atkins, Holiday, Hop. So far tonight, the Rockies are 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position compared to Houston, who's 4 for 7. This would be a good time for Garrett to come through right here.
Toward the hole. Oh, nice pickup. There's one. On the first double play, the Rockies do get a run. Well, Garrett Atkins, as great a year as he's had, he has hit into quite a few double plays, and that was an untimely one.
It was. He just chopped it down to third. I tell you what, Morgan Hinsberg got a great break on this, caught it on the short hop, made a good throw to Biggio, made a nice easy relay throw to first base. And that one hurt right there, but that was a good play by Morgan Hinsberg at third base. You know, we talked about it. You know, he's got the stuff, sinking fastball, and that's what exactly the pitch he threw right there was a sinking fastball to Garrett.
Now Holiday up with 2 outs and nobody on in a 1-run game. Atkins has grounded into 9 double plays this year. That's 3 more than anybody else in the National League. Matt, a double in the second, a single in the fourth. Popped out to short his last time up, 2 for 3. Qualls last year made 77 appearances. And he gets a ground ball to the right side. So Qualls comes in and does a very good job. He gets 2 ground balls. The run will be charged to Taylor Buchholz. The Rockies within a run as we go to the 9th. A 4-3 affair at Coors Field as we've arrived at the top of the 9th inning. With Jeff Houston and Keith Blyer, I'm Drew Goodman. Let's check in again with Dave Benz in the studio. Dave?
Hey, thanks a lot, Drew. Here's what's coming up for you on your FSN Live postgame report. Of course, we'll have all the postgame coverage from tonight's game with the Astros, including Clint Hurdle's postgame press conference, and we'll look ahead to tomorrow's game. Jason Jennings takes the hill for the Rockies. And also one other note, Drew, I know you know about this already, big news involving the Denver Nuggets. We'll get into that that as well. That's coming up following the Rockies and the Astros. Drew?
All right, Dave, thank you. Let's take a look at our Mako game summary. The Astros got off to a fast start. They led 4-0 before the Rockies put 2 on the board in the bottom of the 4th. And it's 4-3 right now. Preston Wilson, 3 RBIs against his former club. But the Rockies pitching has really settled in. Young Kim went 7 innings. He struck out 9. The last base runner for the Houston Astros was Craig Biggio with 2 outs in the 4th inning. And a pop-up off the bat of Jason Lane. 1 out. Let's take a look at our Sonic Good replay of the ball game. Young Kim striking out the side in the 2nd inning, and Ramon Ramirez striking out the side, the heart of the order. 3, 4, and 5 in the 8th inning. Brad Ausmus up there with 1 out. 13 in a row set down by the Rockies. Check it. 14 in a row set down now by the combination of Young Kim and Ramon Ramirez.
Ramon just continues to impress me with the way he comes in and just fires strikes, one right after the other. And you mentioned it, he just mowed down the heart of the order last inning.
And most of our body temperatures 98.6. He may be a little cooler than that.
He sure seems like it. Nothing seems to face him.
Going around. They didn't ask me.
Yeah, I thought he did too.
You know, he's getting the ball in the 9th inning for Houston. Cherry Creek's Brad Lidge.
Take a look at the side swing right here. I think he held up, but from the naked eye, it looked like he might have swung. With Fielding Colbreth got that one right this time.
On the inside corner.
They're looking into the bottom of the 9th inning. You're going to have a Hop, Barmas, a pinch hitter. There's only a couple guys that have had any sort of numbers against them. Gonzalez is 0 for 2, and Eli Marrero is 0 for 4 against Brad Lidge. So your options are a little bit limited with Smith already pinch hitting.
Boy, Ausmus does not look real comfortable with Ramirez on the hill, does he?
He doesn't. And once again, it goes back to a guy that you haven't seen yet on the year. And the way Ramon's able to do different things with the ball, add some to his fastball, take a little bit off, throw the break-in pitch. And looking over the top of the glove there.
We've got to the 13th inning in New York. 7-7 the Mets in Atlanta. Washington shut out Pittsburgh earlier 6-0. Philadelphia over San Francisco 8-2. They've won 6 straight. St. Louis beat Florida 7-2. Pitches up 3-2. Arizona winning again. They're shutting out Cincinnati 7-0 in the 7th inning. Boy, they have put together a nice streak.
They win tonight, that'd be their 7th straight.
Told you it was a nice streak.
Yes, you did.
3-2 pitch, and it's hit well to right center field. Short hops the wall, and Ausmus will have a double.
Got a fastball out over the plate just a little bit and up. Ausmus does a good job of driving it into the right center field gap. Brad Hop made a nice play off the wall here to get it in and make it even a little bit closer at second base than what it normally would be.
He has such a strong arm. It's such an accurate arm. And there's some guys who can throw the baseball, obviously, in the big leagues, but his is one of the most accurate outfield arms. In-game box brought to you by Valero. Here's Adam Everett. favorite up there with a single tonight in 3 trips. Ramirez trying to keep it a 1-run game. Good slider. Prior to that hit, the league against Ramon Ramirez, 4 for 38. That's amazing stuff. And now they're a whopping 5 for 39 against Ramirez.
See what kind of confidence Clint has in Ramon. And yes, Brian Fuentes is not here, but he slowly kind of worked his way up the depth chart, so to speak. He first came in, he used him in the 5th or 6th inning. Now he's starting to have the confidence. He knows that he can bring him into a ball game when it's 4-3 in the 8th inning.
On one hop at Barmes. Strong throw, and by a step he gets Everett.
Good job by Barmy here. It's a one-hopper. Hit decent, but sometimes you have to give ground a little bit. He just kind of waited for it, made a good, strong throw. All that was set up from his footwork. You see him right here. Gets it on the short. See his feet. His feet are directional towards first base. Comes over the top with a good, strong throw. Now he's kind of fixing the dirt there to make sure that that next ground ball that comes to him doesn't take a bad hop from some of the cleat marks that are out there.
Pinch hitter for Qualls will be Mike Lamb, veteran. 6 for 19 so far this year. All 6 of his hits singles. Ausmus is at second base. 2 outs, the top of the 9th. And now Ojeda is going to go out and visit with Ramirez, maybe change the sequence in terms of the signs.
Well, that could be it. He could also be, sometimes you forget about how you were going to pitch a guy in between the start of the game and now all of a sudden in the 8th inning. You take a look at, innings pitched without an ERA. Look at Ramon right there, 11 2/3. It's an impressive number for a young guy.
Ball, 1 strike.
Get back to that point just a second. That was a good job by Miguel just to go out there, double check to make sure, hey, this is how we're pitching this guy. Let's don't make any mistakes at this part of the ball game.
One and 2. Job by Ojeda making sure that didn't go to the backstop. 2 and 2. The Astros 10-1 in 1-run games this year. That's what we're looking at right now, 4-3. And the Rockies have been very good in 1-run games as well. Not quite 10-1. 2-2 fouled off.
Been a good sequence for Ramon. He's throwing some fastballs, throwing some changeup, really keeping Mike off balance here at the plate. And sometimes you sit there, okay, now he's not quite sure what's coming.
Fastball, and he broke his bat, popped it up. Clint Barmes territory. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Brad Lidge will come on for Houston, and the Rockies are looking for 2 runs to win it. Hop will lead it off. Astros 4, Rockies 3. Colorado looking for their 8th comeback victory of the year. Rockies 8-4 in 1-run games. As I mentioned a few moments ago, Houston is 10-1 this year. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball and the Colorado Rockies. Brad Lidge on the mound. From Inglewood, Colorado, big star at Cherry Creek High School, went on to Notre Dame. This is his 17th appearance already. He has 11 saves. He has blown 2. And yesterday, he got the save against the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, he's what can you say about Brad Lidge? I mean, he's led the league in strikeouts for relievers the last couple of years. He's got just an overpowering fastball at 94 to 97 and a hard slider, maybe one of the best in the game at 86, 88. You're going to get power right here, whether it's a power fastball or a power slider.
Hasn't been a great deal of success against him, but this year teams are waiting on him a little bit more because he throws that slider. And Phil Garner even admitted earlier today that sometimes he falls too in love with the slider. And he was looking at tape from a couple years ago when he was so dominant. He said guys were swinging at pitches that were out of the strike zone early in the count. They're laying off those right now. And like that.
Well, like that, exactly.
Hop stayed off the slider twice, and it's 2-0 instead of maybe 0-2.
When you're throwing 94 to 97 and you start off with 2 sliders, you have to understand the guys going to the plate, even against an all-star closer, thinking hey, they might take till they get a strike. And so you come out there throwing 2 sliders down in the zone doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
You know, Brad Ausmus thinking this ball's jacked deep left center field. Way back, and it one-hops the wall. Hop will stop at second base with a lead double. He hit it to the deepest portion of the park, and Brad Hop, the tying run at second base.
Well, that's what we were just talking about. You fall behind 2-0. Now maybe Clint said, okay, go ahead and swing the bat. 2-0, you're going to get a fastball, and Brad Hop just did a great job right there, driving it into the left center field gap. But when you fall behind a hitter, especially one like Brad Hop right now, who's swinging the bat pretty good, you see the reaction from the dugout there. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That'd be great for the Rockies, but if I'm Phil Garner, I'm sitting there going, hey, son, you guys still got a pretty good fastball.
Yeah, it's really inexplicable. This guy, we've seen him hit 98. Too many guys catch up with that. Barmes with Hop at second base. He gets the bump down. Ensberg picks it up. This will tie up the game. Barmes in scoring position now. He's the winning run. Houston has had a problem defensively tonight, and it rears its ugly head again from their perspective. We're all tied at 4, and Clint Barmes, with nobody out, is at second base.
Well, just a great job by Clint Barmes, knowing that you have to bunt this fastball. Does a good job of getting it out in front and runs hard. Never know what's going to happen with the bunt. It makes it look so easy all the 99% of the time, but that one time, Ensberg just throws it up into the line. You see the reaction from the dugout. They're just, oh yeah, there we go. Very nice. Now you're going to get the same thing here. Chu's going to come up and bunt too.
Miguel Ojeda's on deck. Barmes, good speed at second base. Chu gets the bunt down. One play, and that's first. And that's a throw in the dirt. I'll tell you what, Brad Lidge, and you know what? He's a wonderful guy. I spent some time with him doing a long-form interview this offseason. He flat choked on that throw.
Well, he did, and that's what happens when the first guy throws it away. Then the next guy's worried about the same exact thing. It was a great job by Chu coming off the bench and having to lay a bunt down. I'll tell you what, Biggio picked him up right there big time at first base, but you're right, he just kind of choked that throw over to first.
And now Eli Marrero will pinch hit. So Marrero will pinch hit for Ojeda. The outfield comes in, the infield in. The winning run less than 90 feet away.
You see the outfielders, you're right, they got to come in a little bit closer because they can't have a regular fly ball and be able to throw the runner out from third.
And Ausmus has to shift way out to block that ball. Barmes at third base. 4-4. Rockies were down 4-0 at one point. Brad Lidge pitching in front of a whole bunch of friends and family. Here's the 1-1. 2-1.
Got the rally cap on there. So far, it's worked. This is where Eli, mentioned it earlier, 0 for 4 career against Lidge. I tell you what, he's looking right now for a fastball, just something he can get up in the air and get deep enough. And he got a good speed at third base. That's the key here. Barmy's a good base runner with some speed.
3-1. Corey Sullivan is on deck.
Osmus going out here. They just want to double check. Hey, Brad, what do you feel comfortable throwing? You want to throw the fastball here? You want to throw the slider? Don't worry if you want to throw the slider. If you keep it down, I'll block it. Whatever you want to do. You just let me know what you feel comfortable going with. And this is where Eli, too, a 3-1 count. To me, I'm looking for a fastball, dead red. That's his best pitch, I think. That's what I'd be swinging at right here.
He went slider, no swing. Marrero is at first. And now Sullivan will come up.
It was a good job by Eli holding up right here. He was thinking the same thing I was. I'm thinking fastball, but he just had it just enough to hold on and not swing right there. Good job by Eli.
Dan Wheeler, look at this. They're going to go to the bullpen and pull their all-star closer out of the game with 1 out in the 9th. That is a most unusual occurrence in this game. A 4-4 ball game. I am very surprised. Brad Lidge, one of the elite closers in the game. Usually you're out there, win or lose or draw in the 9th inning. You don't even have to worry about anybody warming up. They got Wheeler up quickly, and with 1 out, they pull him out of the ball game for Dan Wheeler. And for the Rockies, Corey Sullivan coming up with a chance to win it.
Well, I don't understand that. I mean, you take a look at Wheeler's numbers right here. He's got a good fastball. He has a lot of confidence in it. He's 88 to 92 and a little short slider and the splitter, but down. But I just don't understand. In May, you're taking your all-star closer, your guy out of the game in this situation.
Can't do a lot for his confidence.
I wouldn't think so.
But that's their issue right now. The Colorado Rockies trying to pull off a nice little come from behind win. They were down 4-0. Looked hopelessly out of it the way Taylor Buchholz was cruising along, the 24-year-old rookie for Houston. Rockies came up with a couple of runs. They've got a run in the 8th. And they got a run in the 9th. First and third, 1 out. Again, the infield in and the outfield very shallow. Any sort of deep fly ball, and Clint Barmes will score.
Be interesting to see here if Marrero takes off at first base. He's got to kind of stay out of a possible force situation. And then if that happens, then they'll think about walking Corey Sullivan to get to Jamie Carroll. There's all the things that are going through the manager's minds at this point on both sides of the equation.
And Davey Collins had said something to Eli Marrero right before Wheeler got back on the rubber, and I have to guarantee it that it was look for a move of some sort. Even though there's no run, there's no fielder holding you on, don't be caught napping.
Well, where the second baseman and shortstop are, you don't really have to worry about them even making a throw to second base.
Out of the strike zone, Herrera will take second. Now let's see what Phil Garner wants to do with first base open.
They'll probably put him on here to face Jamie Carroll.
Well, what he does, I mean, that's really the only play, because you set up an opportunity with one pitch to get out of the inning.
Well, you do, but the other thing about it is you have one of your best, other than Todd Helton, your contact hitter, a guy that you could possibly squeeze bunt with. You know, he's not really going to strike out. He's got good speed, tough to hit into a double play.
Listen, it's not a great situation either way for Garner. And so he's going to elect to pitch to Carroll and hope for the best. But you make a great point, Jeff. Carroll's a guy that gets the ball in play and runs very well. Now, the other part of the equation is Carroll typically is not a guy that's going to give you a deep fly ball.
Well, and that's the drawback. That's the one negative, if there is, with Jamie in this situation. The way the outfielders are playing in, he doesn't hit the ball typically far in the air.
Average arm in center with Tavares, plus arm in left with Wilson, and a plus arm with Lane in right. So here we go, bases loaded. Barmes 80 feet away from winning it with Jamie Carroll at the plate against Dan Wheeler. And that's in there for a strike.
That was a good pitch by Wheeler. That short slider I talked about, that's not really a pitch you're thinking he's going to come out with. First pitch with the bases loaded. You look at the infield. The infielders are still in. They're not even backed up a couple steps in case, give themselves a little bit more range.
That misses 1-1. Three-hit night already for Jamie Carroll. Up high, 2-1. All the pressure in the world's on Dan Wheeler.
We'll take a look here. You got Jamie Carroll at the bat. You got Sullivan at first, Eli at second, Barmes at third. Todd Helton on deck.
Foul tip, evidently. The ball glanced off the bat, and it's 2-2.
Just couldn't quite hold up on this. Good fastball down at the knees. Jamie started to go after it. Marty Foster heard the tip. But this is where Jamie Carroll's at his best. When at 2 strikes, chokes up on the bat, doesn't try to do too much.
Jamie's got quick hands. 4 runs on 8 hits for the Rockies, 4 runs on 8 hits for Houston. The difference in this game, 2 big errors on the Houston Astros, both led directly to runs. And the Rockies trying to capitalize here in the bottom of the 9th. Inside 3-2. Where Wheeler and Carroll have gone as far as they can go. Nowhere to put them for Dan Wheeler. And Jamie Carroll, one of the best eyes on the Colorado Rockies. He will force him to throw a strike. 3-2. High ball four. Rockies have won it. Jamie Carroll jogs to first. Clint Barnes jogs to the plate. And the Rockies have a most gratifying 5-4 come from behind win over the Houston Astros. What a way to start the weekend. Down 4-0. The Rockies come all the way back, and they went on a bases-loaded walk by Jamie Carroll, and he is our Gatorade player of the game. 3 hits tonight, and the biggest play he made was when he didn't swing the bat on a 3-2 pitch.
Well,